Hey, welcome to the Gig Show. I'm your host, Jim Dorman, and I'm very pleased to welcome back my co-host and today guest, Dan Cody.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. How's the ride up from Rhode Island? You made it many times.
Yeah, it's actually a very easy ride today. Usually there's a traffic jam up somewhere, but it was smooth sailing.
That's good. We've got a beautiful morning to hear and talk about it. Be here and talk about your music. You've been very busy.
Yes.
And you get your new EP, extended play out, Imagination Station, which we have a nice shot of the cover here. We can get to talk about that. So yeah, Dan has recently released Imagination Station, a 6-song EP. I've been listening to it and really enjoying all the tunes. I think you really kind of expanded on a little bit some of your nuanced emotions and things like that. I just really enjoy it. So congratulations on the EP.
Thank you.
So just for those of you who are new to the show that maybe don't know, after years of contributing his singing, playing, and songwriting skills to bands like Highway Ghost, The Lead Society, and Finger Lickin' Blue, Dan Cody has embarked on a solo journey creating the music he never could as part of a group. For Dan, this is an opportunity to return to his musical roots, stretch out with songs in different styles that reflect who he truly is. We good so far?
Very good.
Who wrote this? Dan grew up loving bands like the Beatles, Rolling Stones, R.E.M., Bruce Springsteen, and the E Street Band, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, especially how carefully they crafted each song. Following their lead, Dan makes every note count, placing the music first and only coming out with a new song when it's as good as it can be, reflecting his own relentlessly positive outlook. His lyrics project a hopeful and relatable message. Got that straight from the
website.
DanCodyMusic.com, which well written, by the way. I think. I don't know if
what's that guy's name who wrote it?
Might have had something to do with that. I don't know. Always a pleasure. So we're going to be talking about your EP today. But first, we want to have a chance to take a look and listen to the first video that you made. Pretty cool, right? You made that with Joe Clapp.
Correct.
Joe Clapp, a frequent collaborator, guy you've been working with a lot.
Yep, Ultrasound Productions.
Ultrasound Productions.
Hanover, Massachusetts. Look them up, Ultrasound Productions. Recording studio.
You want to tell us anything about in general? We'll talk a little bit more after we come back?
Yeah, talk when we come back.
Okay, we'll talk when we come back. So here, to get the show started, is the video for Dan Cody's Standing Alone on Imagination Station.
Scream
Hey, yeah, that was so cool. Really enjoyed the video, Dan.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
you play a lot of instruments there. You got a couple of different wardrobe changes.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, if you
Mixed
will.
bag, but it's very, very well done. You know what kind of reminds me? I don't know, it makes me think of like this is you were. I don't think you were actually born yet. So, but Paul McCartney's first solo album, McCartney, came out around 1970.
Yeah.
Same time you came out. And I was amazed to see that he'd played like all the instruments on like every song.
Correct.
So, and is that an album? I know you're a big Beatles fan, Paul McCartney fan. Is that an album you've listened to much?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love the do-it-yourself idea. You know, he borrowed Ringo's drum kit,
Right.
set that up in his house. He had a 4-track he borrowed from Abbey Road.
Okay.
He had his bass, his guitars, and he just plugged it directly into the back of that 4-track.
Right.
Play the song on acoustic, and then probably play the drums, and then do the bass and whatever overdubs.
Right.
But did it all in his home. It's a great album.
Yeah, and of course it was a crazy time because I think he did it like really before the Beatles actually fully broke up, maybe, or somewhere,
Yeah, it was close, very close to the breakup. If I'm correct, I believe in that album there was you pull out the sleeve.
Right.
There was an insert, and it was a questionnaire, like a press conference kind of questionnaire.
Oh, okay.
Kind of talked about that essentially he was leaving the Beatles, the way you read it. So.
Well, as a Beatles freak at the time, and I know you've been a Beatles freak your whole life, it was kind of like, what's going on here? And you wanted to love it, but you didn't really. It was like, what the heck? And maybe he felt like some of it does feel a bit rushed to me, though, I got to say. Like, some of the songs are really well produced, and maybe George Martin was involved, but some of the other ones sound like just outtakes from the
raw.
The studio, really raw type, stuff. Or just playing some drums and Linda's voice coming in.
Sounds in the background, the kitchen.
Yeah.
It all goes on there. So.
But I love like Teddy Boy and Every Night and Maybe I'm Amazed, and it's kind of differently. You go from Maybe I'm, just the hottest sun, or
it's a beautiful album.
Everybody knows the bowl of cherries.
Correct.
On the cover stuff. So it's all iconic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And we were going off a little bit of tangent, but again, you love the Beatles, and you're playing your Hofner bass in the video.
Yeah.
You got a Rickenbacker sometimes. You also got a Les Paul going on there.
And we got an electric sitar, courtesy of Joe Clapp.
Sitar. So is that Joe playing?
Yes.
Is that Joe? It's just great. It gives you that kind of George Harrison feeling.
I knew when I wrote the song, I could hear that it was going to be what I call a big production.
Yeah.
Meaning I could hear a lot of layers, a lot of sounds, and when you start recording and start adding things like an electric sitar and some other pieces, it really starts to grow.
Yeah.
And then we put in some strings using keyboard and just got better and better.
Right.
Sometimes when you put a lot on a song, you might lose the song, but this one just kind of kept blossoming and sounding great, and we just kept putting more and more on. So that's
I love that point,
what
because
I call big production.
Like now today you're going to be playing a couple of songs solo acoustic just by yourself.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the EP, you've got a lot more going on there. But it's kind of the songs are good at standalone, just vocal and guitar. But I think that's I don't know. I think I heard some Beatles reference. I wish I could remember which song it was, but I heard a real kind of just simple version of a song that I know became so much more later on, and I was like, wow, that started this way.
Yeah.
Because like I think you've talked about like Beatles quality, music, and I think we probably just mentioned it. But to go from that to the little things that you add, like you say, could be too much, but you just got to try to find the right balance, right?
Yeah, it's it's trial and error. The great thing about this song is I have it on video through my phone and camera recording. I have the whole thing in kind of steps. So I have the very first day where I picked up my guitar, put my iPhone on, and started recording. And I said, "Here's an idea."
Right.
And it's just the opening chords, and I'm playing them over and over.
Oh, okay.
And then
neat.
a few days later, I go back and I record, and I got a verse going. And then I get to the studio, and we get a basic drum track and a basic guitar track, and then I start adding all these overdubs. So I was lucky I caught all of it on film, so I can really kind of see it from day one to the finished recording. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that is really, really cool to have that documented and see the progression. Did you actually play the drums on the on the cut, or?
Yeah, there's some the drums. I always start when I'm doing a song by myself, or just Joe and I. We'll get a computer drum beat going.
Yeah.
Just to give us a bass drum beat.
Yeah.
I'll play usually the acoustic, get the song down with acoustic and drums, and then I'll usually say, all right, now let me sit up behind the drums and let me do some overdubs of some drum beats and drum parts. So that kind of takes over from the original track that we had.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll keep some of the computer drums in just if there's something really good.
Okay.
But I'll tend to overdub and help build it up, and it gives it that real depth, that real sound.
It's cool to see you play in the drums. I don't think I've ever seen. I know you could, but and I like the way the video looks with some things kind of fading in and out.
Yeah.
You know, the different U's that are there. You could have the whole band of you.
Right.
But anyway, just I think the at one point the drummer was kind of ghostly, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of I'm there, I'm not.
Kind of not there.
In and out.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I like abstract video.
Yeah.
You know, so I was filming all these different, just random shots of sky and in the woods and just all over the place. And then we had the green screen at ultrasound. So it was with the green screen and then incorporating elements of playing it on the stage and just kind of jumbling it together. So I like that style. I mean, you can do all different types of videos, but I love when things are really a mix visually.
Yes, it's kind of just get creative with whatever you have.
See what
Sometimes you just went with the green screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. You can do all crazy stuff with that. You know, so many great videos I grew up watching that I loved that abstract feeling.
Yeah.
REM, Fall on Me, great song. They had a video for that, and it was just different. You know,
that was fascinating too. I mean, people forget like how, you know, it really hadn't been a lot. Like obviously the Beatles probably one of the first to do. They did, you know, things like that, but then, you know, you were in your teens, like when MTV was cranking. So just to see, you know, what came out, whether it was just some random stuff or, you know, or something really, you know, amazing. And then, you know, then it got maybe a little overblown. Some people felt like they had to make a whole movie or something. But it is a cool creative process.
Yeah, it's a fun process, and you know, I just kind of go with what I feel. Kind of map things out. Or
I'm sure you guys didn't think too. I'm sorry to talk over.
No.
But what was it? Is it like a statue or a coat? I forget. There's some kind of figure on the left hand side that appears. Is it?
Oh, the knight.
It's a knight.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sir Arthur.
Sir Arthur. Okay.
Yeah, that's Sir Arthur the Knight.
Oh, all right.
He lives at Ultrasound.
Yeah, he lives at Ultrasound.
He's on the back of the first album cover. He's always in the background.
Oh, so this is a history with as one would think.
Yeah, it's a fun little having that in the different shots and photos.
Sir, the Knight. Was it hard picking the song to do the first video for?
No, I knew. With that song, I just loved it, and I knew it sounded great, and I knew I wanted to present that in a video form. Certain songs, I think I can visualize something, a video as I'm doing it. Yeah. Some songs, I think you just, you know, they sound great, they work great, but there's certain ones where you just start oh, that would be cool to do this with that in the background.
Right. And you've been working, as we said, with Joe a while. Like, can you say anything about like what it's like? You know, because obviously it's his studio, and he's worked with you on. You know, I should say that, you know, this is your second EP, or
Yeah, second EP.
The first one was Long Distance Line. Long Distance Line a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think we might have talked about that on our very first show.
What makes this interesting is that if I'm right, 4 of the tracks were produced by a friend of mine, Mark Yukovic.
Okay.
And Chris Ledbetter on lead guitar and background vocals. So they go under the moniker of Shecky and the Pimp Monkeys. Look them up online, Shecky and the Pimp Monkeys. Talented.
I don't think we can say that.
Writers and performers. But Mark produced 4 of the tracks, and again, Chris was on doing lead guitar and background vocals. Mark played Hammond and piano. And then the other 2 tracks were produced with Joe, who I've been working with for forever. And so it's a nice mix of sounds and styles.
Yeah.
And it kind of, these songs just seem to fit together, even though they're recorded with different people in different locations.
Right.
So thanks to all of them for helping to make this.
Yeah, I did notice that. So I didn't realize it was that was the split. So there's 6 songs on it. So 2 were with Joe, and the other 4 with the Pimp Monkeys.
Yeah, Shecky and crew.
So where is their studio?
Clinton, Massachusetts.
Clinton, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've been to Clinton,
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Way
Well, was that cool? That was cool?
Yeah, very, very cool experience.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's great to work with a mix of people because everybody brings their sounds and ideas to the table.
Right.
So it's a mix album, but it seems to work.
Okay.
So.
Well, I definitely want to talk more about that, but I think it's time for you to play a song.
All right.
For us live here in the studio, and I think which song are you going to do first?
What song are we going to do?
What's Creamsicle?
This is Creamsicle, by the way.
making his gig show debut.
Gig show, television debut.
Beautiful guitar.
Beautiful guitar.
And a nice pick, too.
Courtesy of Gary Ticini. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah. Longtime collaborator, Gary Ticini. Anyway, so we got, we're going to have Dan Cody with Until We Meet Again, and let's listen to that, and we'll talk to you when we get back.
I remember the day we first met, rain pouring down, beating up on your blue jacket. We said hello at the same time. We both paused, laughed and said the same line. Until we meet again, promise you'll always be my friend. Until we meet again, keep me in your heart until then. Keep me in your heart until then. Remember we stowed away on a boxcar for a night and day, all the way to Hampton Road. We were so young, we were so bold, picked up 5 towns away, all the way home, silence in the car, in the back seat, laughing nervously, slouched down low so they couldn't see. Until we meet again, promise you'll always be my friend. Until we meet again, keep me in your heart until then. Keep me in your heart until then. I still have all the memories of the love we shared, the times we cared. As I walk along, I feel you beside me. I know you're here with me. I know you're here with me. I remember the day we first met. Rain pouring down, beating up on your blue jacket. We said hello at the same time. We both paused, laughed and said the same line. Until we meet again. Promise you'll always be my friend. Until we meet again. Keep me in your heart until then. Keep me in your heart until then.
Well, welcome back. Hey, Dan, that was a fantastic performance.
Thank you, Jim.
I don't think you really even knew the studio. You could just do it like right here live, so that was perfect.
Yeah, I could do it outside in the tennis court.
You're a true professional. Hey, but stowed away in a boxcar?
For a night and day.
Yeah, like tell me, what's the inspiration for that song?
I needed something to rhyme with for a night and day.
Really?
No, it's songs are funny. That song came fairly quickly, and I just had the opening verse and the chorus, and then I thought, okay, it's kind of it's good. I like it, but I need something else. So it's obviously about two people, one who's no longer there, passed away, the other remembering time spent with that person. So I said, well, there's got to be some kind of story. They've had many stories, many experiences together, but I need to tell at least one. Yeah. Because I needed more lyrics for the song. Could have gone even longer, but I just thought about that. People being young and doing an adventure together. Yeah.
Sorry to make light of it a little bit because it's not really a light song, but it is. But I just heard that boxcar. I said, that Dan Cody's. Some things I didn't really know. If this is,
I'm expanding my vocabulary, and if you listen closely, I got the word slouched. In that song.
Nice.
Don't hear that word too much anymore.
Slouched. I'm no slouch.
That's right. You're not. No dust on you.
Don't sell yourself short. You're a great slouch. But But I've listened to a lot of your music, and you've been busy writing songs, which is fantastic. Over, maybe a long time, but I know over the last 5 years, you've been really making an effort to to write songs and perform and record them. But some of these songs, I think, there's some depth into, the feeling, not, that there isn't, but usually you have a lot of positive things, but, this one's definitely a little more introspective, the feeling there without spelling it right out, and I wasn't even quite sure if it was someone who had passed or someone you just no longer, because we can have that. I don't know, as we get older, you start thinking about somebody you're no longer in contact with for whatever reason, maybe, whether it's a friend relationship or a love relationship or something like that. And you may never see them in the flesh again,
Right.
So.
And that's the idea of Until We Meet Again. It kind of goes on a theory of my song Long Distance Line.
Yeah.
That idea of what happens when we pass away.
Right.
Is there something else or an afterlife?
Yeah.
So it's kind of keeping in line. That's one of my favorite themes of kind of what's beyond this life. So it kind of keeps that question going of until we meet again. Maybe I'll see you at some point
Right.
further down the line, long distance line.
Yeah. Ah.
So.
Well, can you tell us a little bit more about your, I think you've touched on it a bit, but your songwriting process, has it evolved at all, or is it pretty much the same? I know you have a notebook and things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of the same, but to your point, things for me, song-wise, again, have been getting a little more in-depth into lyrics and into subject matter. As you know, I'm always kind of positive.
Right.
My music reflects a lot of positivity, but like Standing Alone, that was written during the pandemic, when we were on lockdown.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about my mom, who was in a nursing home at the time, and you couldn't have visitors in person.
Wow.
Everything was through an iPad or a phone. That's the only way you could see them. So I just had that idea, the thought of, wow, they're really standing alone. They're by themselves. Now, obviously, they weren't completely alone. You had all the doctors, nurses, and medical staff, all the great people taking care of her. But in terms of family and friends not being able to be there in person, like they're on their own. So I started writing that, and I knew I wanted to kind of write abstract lines.
Yeah.
But when it comes into the chorus, what it's saying is the person who's alone realizes that they're alone and they're trying to get back to normal. So
Right.
trying to get back out of the pandemic to the way things were before everything went to lockdown. And they keep seeing doorways. They keep going through, hoping that by going through the doorway, they'll be back to normal.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen. But the positive aspect of that lyric is that they know they have to keep moving,
Right.
keep carrying on, keep going. And that was the idea of through the pandemic that I was thinking, we just got to keep going, get through this, keep step by step. So that gets a little more personal for me, that lyric and subject matter. So.
Well, it makes me think about how, like, obviously the pandemic was a huge issue that everybody went through, and I think, a lot of people talked about it, or recently we're trying to kind of sometimes not think about it so much lately. Sometimes it seems like a distant memory, but it's certainly, something like what you went through, could inspire a lot of thoughts, and you're able to put that into your music. And it just makes me think of some of the greats that sometimes when they were happy, people didn't like their music so much.
Right.
Like I think James Taylor, when he was with Carly Simon, and they were like the power couple, and they seemed happy.
Right.
Anyway, we didn't know everything that was going on. Then I think his album JT came out, and he changed record labels, and it was some good stuff on that. Definitely listen, but it wasn't like his earlier.
Right.
Stuff, that was kind of some pain, a lot of pain in there, because he was singing things like, "Darling, I love you, Carly, I do," and things like that. And people were like, "Hey, what the heck?
Yeah.
Where's my angst-ridden James Taylor?"
Right, my sad songs and my
yes,
deep songs.
Or what I heard with the Eagles was, I think it was, I forget who said it, but he. Whenever Glenn Fry if they were going through a breakup or something, or what's the main guy?
Don Henley.
Don Henley. Excuse me. Who's the guitar player that kicked out?
Bernie Leadon?
No. That's a good one. No, Don Henley. No, not Don Henley. Don Felder.
Don Felder.
Don Felder.
Yeah.
I think he said it in his book. He said we were always waiting for, every time they had like the good relationship was good, the music wasn't as good.
Right,
Every time they'd have a breakup, then it's kind of like one of their later albums. Heartache Tonight. Well, see, that's kind of a heartache, but everybody's like, it was kind of like almost a dance song or something, or whatever. Anyway.
Well, that's the thing about songwriting. You can. There's obviously personal experiences that you can write about, but a lot of songwriting is, just kind of crafting a song and a story. So some may be personal and have personal meaning, and others you're just writing as a kind of an exercise.
Right.
You get some good music.
Yeah.
You need some words. You kind of put it together. You got fun songs, you got sad songs, you got off-the-wall songs.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the notebook and all kinds of ideas and titles, and I see what connects at the time that I'm sitting down. And
Do you ever struggle when you think, again, this came back to an early discussion we had today, but whether it's done or not, like, do you need a bridge, or like, when do you figure that out?
in the studio, when we're putting the overdubs on, and it's really starting to kind of grow, if I'm tapping my toes and I'm playing like eardrums, and I'm like, this is really good. I can feel when it's done. Sometimes we might have an idea like, hey, let's try a bridge, or let's try this part, and you try it, whether it works or not. But it's really it's what I'm feeling with what I'm hearing. Yeah, I can tell if it's done or not. You don't want to just put something in to put something in.
Because sometimes I'm astonished at how simple a song is. It's just straight up 3 verses and 3 choruses, and it's nothing, and I was like, wow, that's a great song, that's it.
Yeah.
And other songs, it's like, wow, this song is so cool because it has this great, bridge, or this repeating part, or something like that.
Yeah. It's got to, as you mentioned earlier, it's got to serve the song. Yeah. So I write a song and I say, okay, that sounds good. I think I'm going to record it. By that point, I've kind of figured out that's what it should be. Somebody, Joe or somebody else could, hey, what if you did this here? Oh yeah, let's try that. But once I've kind of written it, and I can sit here and play it to myself and get all the way through, then I think that's what it will be. Right.
But you do have like a lot of cool elements, and that kind of adds a nice feature. Like, maybe just a little bit of an instrument. We've already mentioned the sitar.
Yeah, electric sitar. 12-string guitar. It's a mix of quite a lot of different.
A little.
sounds.
Is it a synthesizer?
Yeah, synthesizer and strings. Using the synthesizer.
Is that something you do, or is it kind of more the studio?
On Standing Alone, I did play those parts.
Okay.
Yeah, and then on the songs that Mark produced, Mark did all the piano and Hammond.
Oh yeah, that was very nice. I like the which song features kind of like the you're talking about has like the piano and the Hammond.
That's in Standing Alone.
Oh, okay.
It's in that one as well. It's in Evenings Pass.
Yeah.
Like a Heartbeat.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of great synthesizer work that Mark did. It's pretty simple. It's acoustic and then synthesizer. But,
I see.
He did some great work. Stuff that I wouldn't come up with on my own. So that's the beauty of collaborating. People bring their own to the table.
Right. And I always love lead guitar, and you play lead guitar.
Yeah.
Is that kind of, you have to think about not adding too much, or maybe you say, hey, I'm going to add a lot?
Yeah. Well, the beauty of that lead guitar work is I love playing my first instinct.
Okay.
So a lot of the first take, I'll just play. A lot of times I'll use stuff from that very initial take because it's my first gut reaction. Right. As you keep doing it, you start to, all right, I can do this here and do this here. You can weave it together, but I love the initial instinct of just hit record and let me play whatever and see what I feel.
Yeah. Well, I think you usually have a very good instinct, and
thank you.
I've heard people like look at some of the stuff that you've done here or other videos and say, hey, the guy knows just what to play. So other people that play guitar, so very good instincts on that. You. Yeah. Switching abruptly, I meant to mention we've got a nice shot of your cover. It's like an old LP cover, Imagination Station by Dan Cody. Can you tell us anything about the cover art or anything?
Yeah, it's a great cover, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's done by a graphic artist, goes by the name Sadgrapher, Sadgarpher.
Yeah.
And I just sent the idea and the title and said, see what you come up with.
Oh, cool. All right.
So came up with this, and it's just so cool that the person, the head is kind of bowed. I don't know if you can see it, but the head is bowed.
Yeah.
And what this is all representing coming from the head is the imagination.
Right.
Letting that imagination release and go out.
Yeah. And that's what this kind of is all about, right? Kind of coming up with some cool thoughts and ideas, and
just letting them go,
right? Just let it go, right?
And not being too picky, and just collecting it all into.
Yeah. So,
use your imagination, let your mind wander free.
Yeah. So, and we're not going to feature that song today, but people can listen to all this on all the streaming platforms, right?
Yeah, any streaming platform you listen to, or dancodymusic.com.
Right.
Yeah. Oops. Check it out.
All right.
Imagination Station.
Well, before we have you play live again, just kind of thinking, do you have any plans to play some of these songs live? I know you got some collaborators. I think I'm looking forward to the day we have the Dan Cody Band.
Yeah.
Playing live, and maybe playing all your originals, and maybe a few, mix it with some of your favorite covers, that kind of thing. But what about playing live?
Yeah, I'm working on putting together getting some folks together to play these songs and some of my other songs, because when my first EP came out during the pandemic, I didn't get to have any kind of record release party, and I've released a number of singles since then, and now to this. I'd really like to get out and play these songs in some setting.
That'd be cool.
And celebrate, these songs and some of my oldest songs, and so hopefully later this year, at some point this spring, maybe.
I know it's not probably easy to get something like that together, but you have a lot of good connections.
I do. A lot of good friends.
a lot of good
talented.
Friends. You won't have to play the drums yourself.
No. I could try to do everything myself, but I'll bring in the talented friends who help make this music possible.
So we've talked a lot about the studio and stuff like that, but just kind of what do you think you've learned maybe from some of the most recent things? Anything new that you about the whole process? Either about yourself or about the process, anything like that?
That's a good question. I think the one thing I learned or have really focused in on is, having a plan. So am I going to release a group of songs?
Yes.
Or am I going to do one at a time for a little while? Mm-hmm. Figure that out, and then finish the songs, finish the project, release it, and celebrate it, and then go on to the next. Sometimes I'm going to release 6. I'm going to release 1, or I'm going to release some all over the map.
Okay, right.
So I think that's what I've learned is pick a project or pick a song or a group of songs and finish it all the way, rather than getting lost in the shuffle. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you don't know till you go and do it, right? And that's what you're doing now. So
correct.
And it should be celebrated.
Yes.
So again, people can go out and listen. I listen on YouTube Music.
Yeah. Anywhere you listen.
Spotify or I don't know. The videos on free YouTube. They can do that and check it out. But let's see. We'd like to do one more live song, and I think what's we're gonna go flying back to London. Flying back to London, and we're not going to be coming back. So what can you tell us about that song, Flying Back to London?
I came up with the music first. I had these chords. I really liked had these opening chords. Yeah. I'll just give you a quick. I had this.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And then
That's
I was
a cool
like,
groove.
where else can I go And then I said, let me try. I was gonna go here. And it was okay, but I'm like, something's not there. So I said, we go up higher. You know?
Yeah.
And it just took it up a level. And then I came back. So
the music came first.
the music came first, and then that chorus. Now I'm flying back to London to knock upon your door. You know, it's a good contrast to those opening chords.
Right.
So I thought, you know, I like those two different parts.
That's cool. So that's a good process. What about the because we haven't heard it yet, but the lyrics that what are you thinking about there? It's not a happy song.
No, it's a story about the main character has screwed up.
Yeah.
You know, basically cheated. Understands that they've screwed everything up, and now they're going back to try to reconnect and apologize. And it's just that realization of I got to try to go back and make things better. But I love the word London and the imagery and St. John's Wood. That's where Abbey Road Studios is.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure about that. All right, I didn't know that.
The place I hinged in Stonehenge. Mm-hmm. So a lot of references to
worked in some things there.
Yeah, to London. So.
All right. Well, let's well, first of all, we're gonna close with that. So thanks for taking the time as usually as the co-host, but as the guest to celebrate your EP Imagination Station. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank everyone behind the scenes here: Kevin Tachi, Dave Bowen, Liam Manella, Drew Flaherty, and of course, thanks again to Dan Cody. We'll see you all next time on The Gig Show. But here is Dan Cody with Flying Back to London.
6 a.m. and my mind is wandering. Union Jacks, I called home, the place I hedged in stone. I close my eyes, ask myself why. Now I'm flying back to London to knock upon your door. Now I'm flying back to London to see if you love me anymore. I played the fool, the juggler, and the clown. I apologize if I turn your world upside down. I got lost in St. John's Wood, the lie is understood. I close my eyes, I ask myself why. Now I'm flying back to London to knock upon your door. Now I'm flying back to London to see if you love me anymore. I'm flying back to London to knock upon your door. Now I'm flying back to London to see if you love me anymore.